Ah,
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone.
I don't have any funny left in me.
Let radio all get hit with the boom, boom.
I think we should just do the whole podcast like this.
Right, let's get started because I got to get some shellac.
Are we starting from the beginning?
That's a very good place to start.
Hello and welcome to Uphill From Here.
This is Catherine.
And this is Amy. And we're in lockdown.
Yeah, literally.
And today.
Oh, no, today. So this goes out. So we're filming on Sunday. This goes out on Thursday. So it's officially lockdown 2.0. We hope you're okay.
We do hope you're okay. We're not.
It's just for a month. It's just for a month. We can do it. We can do it.
And we're going to be here because we've got nothing else to do.
What's our word of the week this week?
Our word of the week this week is voice. Which I feel like has kind of fed in quite a lot to a lot of other episodes. Like a lot of things where we've spoke about motherhood, like motherhood is a choice, love is a choice, kind of all those kinds of things. So it's quite nice to actually give it an episode by itself and see what the word actually conjures up in our heads.
And I feel like we're going to have very different views. And also our guest, who you'll meet later on. I'm really excited to hear from her too. So let's get started. Who is first? To all of the UK. I said I was going to stay away from politics for this letter, and funnily enough, here is where we've ended up. We've been put under the inevitable second lockdown. It's shit, and we may not feel like we have many choices at the moment. We are told to do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. It feels like we're being dictated to. But in all of these rules and regulations, we do have a choice. We have a choice to be kind to one another. We have the choice to give each other the benefit of the doubt. We have the choice to keep each other safe. We have the choice to learn more about things we didn't have time for before. We have a choice to try new things. We have a choice to find new passions. We have a choice to keep going and to stay positive. In this time of rules and regulations, we have to reclaim the things we choose and control. Don't follow the rules because you are told, reclaim it. Follow the rules because you make the choice to keep people safe and to be kind. Learn more about the world and how to make it better because you choose to, not because everyone else is telling you to. We all must stop with this mentality that we're having everything taken from us, and that because we're being asked to do something, we want to rebel. Make the choice to reclaim your life and choose what you can control. The pandemic is out of our control, but there are so many choices we can make to reclaim what we already have and stay positive. Choice is yours, choose wisely. Very, very relevant right now.
Very topical.
Very topical. Look at you. Maybe a lot of people won't be feeling positive, like you say. It's that choosing to stay positive is not always kind of possible.
Of course it's not.
So I think a lot of people facing the second lockdown, as expected, will be really struggling. So I just wondered, like, how do you choose to stay positive? What do you choose to do in lockdown? And maybe some advice for someone that's really struggling with the thought of it.
And I think this is something that we need to kind of get to grips with, is everyone is fighting their own battle. And everyone's kind of acting like, no, I'm worse off. No, I'm worse off. No, I've got it worse. But that's not the case. Like, I've been unemployed for 7 months now. In my whole life, I've never been unemployed. Like, ever since I've had a job and through education, I've never been unemployed. So this is very alien to me and quite stressful. But I'm at home with my family.
Yeah.
And some people are employed and can't be at home with their family. That's their fight. That's what they want. So I want to kind of put it out there that, like, everyone is fighting their own battle, and that is what I'm trying to get across. Don't feel guilty because of what you've got, and don't make others feel bad because of what they've got. Think about the positives that are in your own, like, self. You know, you've managed to get up this morning. Great. You've managed to have a shower. You managed to, I don't know, apply for that one job. take the small positives in every day, because it does get mundane. Believe me, I've been doing it for 7 months. It gets really boring. And, you know, find the little achievements, find the little positivities in every day. So whether that's like, oh, the sun's shining, so I'm going to go for a walk, see what you can see. We need to strip it back to the simplicity of not like, oh, I've got loads of money, or I've got a job, or I've got this, that and the other. We need to strip it back to the simplicity of everything that comes in every day, because that's all we have at the moment.
And I think, like, you made a good point there, is like, lockdown isn't something that we can control. We don't have a choice in that, because we would choose not to have a global pandemic right now if we could, but we can't. Yeah. So this is the cards we've been dealt. But it's like you say, it's choosing to, it's looking at what we do have a choice in and reclaiming that. So like, I can choose to start a new hobby. I can choose. It's good because you're focusing not what you can't do. Like, oh, I can't have my wedding anymore, or I can't go and see my friends anymore. I can't go out dancing anymore. But I can do this project I've sat on for a while, and I can have time to relax for a change rather than working on stuff.
I can read that book I've been meaning to read for the last year. You know, I can make that blanket I've been meaning to make for the last 12 months. It's all about what you can do, what is possible.
And also kind of like on the theme of like struggling in lockdown, I wonder, as a creative person, as a member of the arts community, the arts industry, do you think that having this kind of challenge is easier or harder? Because obviously, as we know, the industry is really struggling, but as we also know from previous historic moments, as in the war, a lot of art came from that, so it can really inspire things and make people think of things in a new way. So do you think like it's easier being a creative person in lockdown or harder?
Both. I think it's hard to be creative because nothing's happening. There's nothing like to stimulate your whole brain to get you thinking, oh, I could do this, that and the other, or you're not allowed to be in a room with people. And as a creative, and I think it happens in all spaces, in all kind of fields, but I think particularly when you are creative, you sit in rooms and you literally bounce things off each other. Like, what about this? No. What about this? Oh, but this, and then we could do this, and then this could come from it, and that's how you build an idea. And trying to do that by yourself is really hard, because you've only got yourself to kind of have that conversation with, and you're not going to argue with yourself. So you kind of get into this false sense of security that you've created something really great because no one's critiqued it yet and no one's looked at it. Yeah. But I think kind of the positive side of it, like you said, is we've had to look for different ways to be creative. So like, for example, me, I haven't been particularly creative in terms of theatre, but I've started creating artwork, which I hadn't really had time for before. And now we are given an abundance of time, which is what a lot of artists kind of go, oh, but I don't have time because I have to go to work, and then, you know, I haven't got time to do it. Well, now we've got time to do it. You know, we haven't got a social life, so we've got plenty of time to start creating.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
It's kind of like, it's a bit bittersweet, really, because it's hard to be creative in a time that is so stagnant, but we've got plenty of time to do it now, so we can't use that as an excuse.
Yeah. So you said about like people not wanting to follow these rules and being like, no, you're taking away my freedom, you're taking away my liberties. And I just wonder why it seems that, I don't know, maybe young people in particular, I'm not sure if you agree, but like why they are currently rebelling against authority so much.
Because we don't trust it. There's been a lot of trust issues with the people that are running our country at the moment, and there still is. And I think that trust is gone. And, you know, from any relationship that you have, romantic or friendship or whatever, or even in a workplace, you know, if you lose all faith in a boss or a friend, that's it. You just stop believing what they're saying. So I think people are rebelling against it in that regard. But the thing that upsets me is that people are looking no further than themselves. And I think that's what's really hard to take as someone, and I know you're exactly the same, as someone that is incredibly compassionate about other people. It's really hard to see people going, oh, well, it's not affecting me, so I don't care. a mindset that is, oh, well, I'm not going to follow the rules because I think it's a lie. When really the rules are there to keep other people safe and to keep you safe.
Yeah. And I feel like it's like people that say, I'm not going to wear a mask because it's all bullshit, like anti-maskers. I'm like, I'm all for people having their beliefs and having their opinions so that it doesn't harm someone else. But if your belief is that you don't believe this virus is real, and it's not killing thousands of people, and that you don't need to wear a mask, that isn't an opinion, that's just harmful and selfish. I think if you don't want to wear a mask and you choose not to because you don't believe that it's real, if you do wear a mask, the worst thing that could happen if it's proven that masks don't help is you have a bit of fabric on your face. That's literally it. Just fucking put a mask.
It's really not hard.
It's not that deep, guys.
It's not that deep, even if it doesn't make any sense. So let them go and, sort it out themselves with their scientists and all the things that they're supposed to know, and just crack on with your life and do the things that you need to do to help.
And that's our Rona rant for the week.
Thank you for coming to our TED Talk. Amy has said, how much choice do we actually have in our lives? For me, choice is a matter of control. There are some things in life that we can control and others that we simply cannot. For example, we can choose who we let into our lives and also sometimes who we let go of. We can choose what kind of behaviours, attitude and actions we will tolerate and draw clear boundaries at those we will not. We cannot choose who we fall in love with, as Catherine discussed last week, but we can choose to keep loving them, even through the difficult stuff. We actually cannot choose who stays in our lives and who goes. If someone chooses to walk away from you, mistreat you, break your heart, you cannot control that. Let them go. Try as you might, you cannot make them choose to stay. Often feeling like we have a lack of control in our lives can leave us with a sense of hopelessness, desperation, a deep discomfort that we cannot resolve. In those moments, I try to remind myself of something my mum once told me. You can't control other people's actions, only your own reactions. Unfortunately, we cannot control the actions of those who hurt or mistreat us, but we can control our own response. We can choose not to dwell, not to torture ourselves with the what ifs, and not to allow anyone to treat us any less than you deserve. You can choose to love, value, and respect yourself. You can choose not to doubt or wallow in self-pity or guilt. You can choose to keep moving forward. And that's what I choose to do. Amy. No.
It just came to me in the shower.
I love that because it's like that idea of, like we said, like I've said in my letter, but in kind of a different capacity, is like it's about control. And I think that's really like interesting, is that, choice is definitely about what you physically can control within your own space. Why did the word choice make you think about the people in your life particularly, and like the relationships you've had with people, whether that be friendships that you've had to let go, or trying to make people stay and not stay? Why did choice conjure that up for you?
I think I've been like in a very privileged position in my life where I chose what I wanted to study. I chose where I went to university. I chose the career I wanted to have and I worked at it and I got it. Chose where I wanted to live and I moved. But I think those are things that you can control because they are you and they affect you. But the people you let into your lives, you can't control them. They're not puppets. You can't make them think what you want them to think. You can't read their minds. You can't make them stay if they want to leave. You just can't. Like you cannot you cannot make other people's choices for them as much as you want to. So I think that's been a source of frustration for me until I figured that out, is why did that person leave, or why did that person not react the way I wanted them to? And like you can just kill yourself thinking, why did that happen? Why didn't they stay? Why? What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
But those are things that you can keep thinking forever, and it's not going to help. Like you can carry that, like, and it's maybe for people with like single parent homes that like their other parent left and they're like, why didn't my mom or dad love me? Why wasn't I good enough? Why didn't I get chosen for this team? Why didn't I get into this uni? Things happen for a reason, and I think you just have to let them and focus on what you can control and what you do have a choice over. So you choose not to dwell. You choose to well, no, if that person's going to walk away, I'm going to let them. I'm not going to chase them and try and force them to stay because they don't want to. You have to respect other people's choices, but you also have to have a lot of respect for yourself and choose to prioritize yourself too.
Yeah.
I
think you said something really interesting there about like respecting other people's choices, because I think that's something that like people do really struggle with when they particularly want something and the other person wants something different. Being able to either accept or kind of, well, yeah, I suppose accept in regards to whether you then allow yourself to kind of go, okay, well, I can facilitate for that choice that they've made, or I'm not comfortable with that, so therefore I'm going to have to let that go or drift from it. I think that's, yeah, it's about that respect for both your own choices and for their choices is equally as important, because that's how you build good relationships with people.
Yeah, like if they've made a choice, like perhaps when you're like seeing someone romantically and they say that they choose that they don't want to be in a relationship right now, or they choose that they don't want kids or they don't want marriage, and that might be things that oppose what you want. And I think if you choose to say, okay, like you say, I can facilitate that, okay, that's fine with me, and in the back of your head you know it's not, you've chosen that. So you've chosen to sign yourself up to something that you don't want and inevitably is going to hurt you. You've chosen that. And I think, yeah, you control your own choices and you can't blame anyone else for that. If you've entered into that, that's your choice. You could have chosen to respect that and respect yourself and say, okay, I'm choosing to walk away because this doesn't serve me anymore. And that's sometimes more difficult, but it's sometimes the better choice to make.
Do you think that when things feel out of control, you like personally tend to make good or bad choices?
It depends on where I'm at mentally. Like, I feel like it depends on the balance. Like, if I feel completely out of control of my life, like my whole life, every aspect of it, I don't know. I feel like nobody likes feeling out of control of their life and being like, hey, no idea what the fuck I'm doing. This is scary.
Yeah.
It's scary, and you do make poor choices. And I feel like perhaps you make rash decisions because you're panicking and you're focusing on, oh my God, I can't control that. What do I do? Grab this, do this. And you're just grasping onto things that perhaps aren't healthy. I don't know. And maybe you feel alone and you're grasping onto people that don't make you feel so alone. And yeah, it makes you panic. And I think no good decision is made in a panic. Like what I do for a job, when someone says, oh my God, I'm panicked, I'm stressed, I'm like, okay, that doesn't help anything. Panicking about something you can't control will not make the situation any better or give you any more control. If anything, it'll give you less control. So the worst you do is panic and stress, especially when things are out of your control. Like right now, we could just be like, oh my God, this is all terrible. I've just lost my job. I've just lost my income. I've lost my social life. And like you say, it's easy to just be like, oh, panic, this is all shit. But it's like, okay, I can't control this. I need to accept that fact, first of all, and look at what I can control and how I can make better choices that way. So when I maybe have lost control of one part of my life, I go, okay, so I can't control maybe my personal life, the stuff going on there that like other people are making their choices right now, but I can control my work. I can control that. I can make choices about that and focus on that. So that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. And do you have any advice for like when things have felt out of control and maybe your younger self who isn't so kind of realized in how you deal with things, have you got any advice for anyone on how to kind of get to this step a little bit faster? Is there any resources that you've used or people that you've been to that have kind of helped to just kind of halt it and make you go, slow down, like pulled on the reins and been like, stop panicking, because that's not helping. This is what we need to do to move forward?
My good friend suggested on the podcast before that we rave about and love, Uphill From Here. She's a life coach. I'll tag her below. Her views on things, just I had a session with her, a breakthrough session, and literally for someone that's quite self-aware, blew my mind, because it just, life coaching just makes you take something that you maybe a view you have in your life or an attitude that you have in your life and just flips it. So instead of focusing on what you can't control, it's what can I control? How can I move forward here? How can I not just stay in this panic and this desperation? What can I do to move forward and live more positively? So I think as a friend, as a life coach, Bee's been really helpful for me. But in that aspect, I think just opening up to someone. I'm quite an open person, and I feel like Catherine's often been the person that I've spoken to, and I'm like, I'm panicking, I don't know what to do. And just speaking to someone can help you identify what you're actually panicking about and what it is that you feel like you have a lack of control of. And sometimes speaking to someone about how you're feeling and them to go, okay, I get why you might feel panicked, but what can we do? What can we do here? How can we move past this? What can you focus on? What can you control? So I think it really is just sometimes speaking to someone who's not in that panic mode grounds you and anchors you back in to, okay, chill out.
Yeah.
Let's think a different way. And it's nice to get a different perspective. So don't try and cope with it all on your own, I think, is my best advice.
Yeah. You know, you can find it. There are things. I know that something that I did during lockdown when all of that was kind of going on and it was like panic and everyone was talking about COVID-19 and everyone was talking about all this horrible stuff. I deleted Twitter. I deleted the news app. I got rid of it. I was like, I don't need that. I know what's happening. I don't need 24/7 updates on what is happening. I was like, so get rid of that. And I did the same for my Instagram. I got rid of kind of muted people who were really up on the COVID thing and started looking into people who were like, I hope you're okay. Here's, a nice little self-care idea, or here's a nice little journaling technique or something like that to just kind of like free your brain a little bit.
Yeah.
Because phones are great, but social media is very overwhelming. And I think that feeds into the internal panic that we have about things that are out of our control.
But it's nice that you took control of that situation. You go, okay, so this is making me feel like I have no control over the bigger picture. So you went, okay, what measures can I put in place? So I'm going to delete that app. I'm going to mute these accounts. I'm going to follow more accounts that make me feel good and make me more self-aware. So you did have that, you made that choice. And I think that's an important choice to make. When you feel like you have no control and no choice on anything, you do. There's always something that you have a choice over. Now it's time to introduce our lovely guest this week. This guest is actually someone I met through, we were talking about feeling a bit alone and meeting people and networking online. And this is actually a friend, a really good friend I made through Instagram. And we've just supported each other through lockdown. And she's just lovely. And I'm very glad that we have her on to guest. So let's hear from the lovely Laura about what the word choice means to her.
Dear Cat and Amy, when I hear the word choice, there are so many things that come to mind. From words like marriage, kids, tattoos, wine and gin. The biggest meaning choice has to me is that I live my life the way I choose to, as any woman should. I believe every woman should be in charge of the path their life takes. If that means having children but never getting married, that's fine. If that means having children, that's okay. If that means never having children, that's okay. I hate that for years women have lived their lives by the rules and expectations of others and the way that it's always been. Now, don't get me wrong, I may seem like a bit of a hypocrite because my life so far has gone in a fairly traditional way. I went to school, I went to uni, I met a boy, got a job, moved in with said boy. And in my future, I do hope I get married, then have kids. But my life has gone this way because I've wanted it to. I wanted to get married before I have kids for my own reasons and not because society says that's the way it needs to be. Another thing that comes to mind when I hear the word choice is my body. I firmly believe in my body, my choice. Growing up, I was always got told, people won't hire girls with tattoos and piercings. Well, now I have a great job and I have 6 piercings and 2 tattoos. It kills me to know that so much of how women live their life is decided by white men who are completely out of touch with reality. One of the worst examples being abortion laws across the world. I know this is a taboo topic and a lot of people don't like to talk about it, but it's a reality for a lot of women, and being shamed for making a choice that affects your body and your life shouldn't happen. I guess to sum up, to me, choice means you get to live every aspect of your life how you want to. You get to do to your body what you want. And as long as you're happy, Screw what anyone else thinks. Life's too short to live to make other people happy. So that's what choice means to me.
Ooh.
Let's talk about it. I love that. So many good points.
Mm-hmm.
And I think absolutely, like when I was thinking about choice, I was thinking about the whole idea of my body, my choice. And I think as young women in particular, it's a huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that you're made to think about from quite a young age. Like we talked about before, the choice to become a mother is something I've always thought about. It's like built into me. But I think as you like go through your teenage years, the choices you make with your body become suddenly under this microscope. And again, maybe going right back to the episode when we talked about insecurities and comparing to other people.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she shaves her legs for PE. I don't shave them. Oh, she's chosen to get a piercing. Oh, she's chosen to have sex. And it's like, I don't know, I feel like when you are a teenager, all those choices are suddenly made to be these huge things. Mm-hmm. And we're thinking far more about what everyone else is choosing than what do I want to do? What's my choice for my body? What am I okay with? Not what should I be okay with because everyone else is doing it. Yeah.
I think this is the thing. When it comes to thinking about choice for women, it comes down to this idea of men against women. What men can do and what women can do. And I think what we actually have to look at as well is how much other women impress and like have an impression on what other women do. From a very young age, I've had a very different relationship with body hair to anybody I ever knew. And I ended up waxing, and waxing means you have to leave everything for ages before you can get anything dealt with. So a lot of the time you're quite hairy, and that's natural. It's a completely natural thing. But I have found that I have been in relationships where I felt uncomfortable about it because I was made to feel uncomfortable about it. A lot of it is, oh, that's really gross, or oh, I could never do that, or oh, how do you deal with that? Like, what do you do about it? And it's like, well, it's none of your business.
Yeah.
Like, that's my choice. It's what I'm doing with my body. Why do you care?
I know. I don't understand this. The thing when you said people saying your choice is gross, it's none of your business what it is. You don't get an opinion on my body and the choices I make with it.
Yeah.
If I choose to have hairy pits, what's it hurting? Like, it's my body. I do not understand why people think they can make judgments on other people's, or oh, they've got tattoos, I'm not going to give them a job, or oh, that's not sexy, you got hairy legs with a dress. Maybe I didn't have time to shave because I'm a successful, busy woman and I want to wear a dress.
Like, for example, let's think about hair removal in terms of like men. The thought of a man shaving is like, oh, what would you do that for?
Well, have you got shiny legs? Maybe he likes shiny legs. Why
do you like shiny legs? Leave them alone. Shiny legs are great. They feel wonderful.
And it's none
of your damn business.
It's so true though. Just focus on the choices you're making, make sure they're good ones,
and how they impact your life.
Yes. But also be considerate of the people around you who are making different choices for them. Let them do them and you do you. Yeah, we just want to say thank you as well for Laura taking the time to write to us and for writing what was a really thought-provoking piece of writing about choice. I love it, but I feel like we had some really good discussions this week. We would love to hear your responses and thoughts and views, and we want to hear your voices on these topics too. So Catherine, how can they get in touch?
You can get in touch via the Instagram. We are at Uphill From Here Podcast, or through the email uphillfromherepodcast@gmail.com. We're still wanting to hear from you. Please have a chat with us and interact. We like to hear from you. You're all really interested.
So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you very soon with some brand new content. We'll see you very soon.
Bye.
I need to get her recording. She's dribble. I caught that as well. Oh, am I recording this? Sorry, Mum. Oh, I'm sorry. Life's so frustrating. I'm having a breakdown.
You don't need to know the ins and outs. But
Every time I do shit like that, I think, Amy, you're gonna have to fucking edit yourself out. Why do you do this? Okay.